Starting the stream.
You know what I'm streaming?
Let me watch a Batman. Spoilers. Great.
We are live, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're in the living room.
I am. I set up it.
Can you turn me up just a little bit?
Yeah. Give me a sec.
Oh, you're in the living room. Oh no, you don't need to turn me up. I was just talking quietly.
Cool.
Oh, I don't know why I did that. Here we go. Oh no, you don't need to turn me up.
Alright, no more echo.
Here we go. Yep, I turned it off, or not turned it off, but I turned down the volume.
Gotcha, buddy. That's one of my favorite internet videos.
I don't know what that is.
You haven't seen that? They go to their, I think you have. When they go to that restaurant, and he's like,
oh,
my girl
yeah, he wants
ordered
the steak.
an 8-pound burger, but I put it on the weight and it's 6 pounds. No, it's a burger.
Oh, my bad.
And it's 6 pounds.
Nobody orders pound burgers.
I know, but that's like the whole. And then he goes, "Got you, buddy."
Yeah, I got you, buddy. Yeah,
no, not like that.
One.
It was like,
I'm sorry.
"Got you, buddy." Yeah, I got you, buddy. Not like that. That was stupid.
Sorry. That's on me. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Just waiting for some people to show up.
Yeah, should we talk about anything first besides the Batman?
I finished Murderville, that comedy show I was telling you about. The last episode, Ken Jeong was the guest.
Cool.
And he didn't really do anything funny. I think one of the core problems with the show is that all the guests don't do anything because Will Arnett is the crazy guy. Mm-hmm. And so the other person has to like be the straight man, and then it's like not funny because Will Arnett's only like sort of funny. I think if Ben Schwartz was the host, it would be a much better show because it's very much a Ben Schwartz premise for a TV show.
No way,
and I
dude.
think that he would be funnier.
Will Arnett's funny, bro.
I don't know. I don't love him on the show, but like Ken Jeong doesn't do anything. But every once in a while, it'll cut to like his reaction to something, or he'll be like standing next to somebody, and he's just this tiny little like middle-aged Asian guy with the funniest face, and he looks so frail, and it's so funny.
Well, I'm glad you love that so much.
So I laughed at the last episode quite a bit. The 5th episode, the guest was Sharon Stone.
Who's that? I don't even know who that is.
The lady who you can see her vagina in that movie when she crosses her legs.
Oh, what movie is that? That's
Basic Instinct.
Yeah.
And that is, I don't think she's a comedy person.
Well, she like got super angry about that, didn't she?
I'm sure. But like I don't think in her career she's a comedian.
No.
So I don't understand why she was a guest on a like improvisational comedy TV show.
How strange.
She wasn't terrible.
And she wasn't even the last guest?
No, she was the 5th one. She was 5 of 6. It was just like an episode. It was very strange. I didn't really understand the thought process.
How bizarre. I think I would have been angry. Would have been very angry.
The guest on the 4th episode was also a woman, and I don't know who she is, but she was funny.
Not possible.
I know, you would think so, but she was funny.
Titus says, better Batman, Will Arnett or Pattinson? It's a tough decision.
Oh yeah, that's I didn't even realize I was talking about another Batman.
Will Arnett is Batman.
Will Arnett is Batman. He's
much
my Batman.
Much like Jamie Foxx is Lil Jon.
Yes.
Will Arnett is Batman.
I forgot about that. You always remember that.
That's a deep cut.
That is a deep cut.
No one knows
from a poster for a movie that no one remembered.
I remembered it. I didn't even see it, but I remember it. How can you forget it?
I don't know.
What a scarring film.
Truly.
That I've seen.
awesome.
No, I would
Do you
probably
wanna
say
talk about-
Pattinson though.
Yeah, probably. Do you want to talk about the Batman?
Sure, why not?
I haven't heard any of your thoughts on it, aside from an alternate ending pitch.
Wasn't
wasn't
that
really
sick?
Serious. It was sick.
I was driving
just-
home and I was like, oh shit, that'd be so.
That would have
cool.
been much better than what we got, I feel,
My God.
with that scene.
So
We'll
annoying.
talk about that later. But before we get into spoilery stuff, did you like the movie?
I thought it was good.
Okay,
I wasn't like blown away by it.
interesting.
And it's for really one reason.
What is the reason?
Well, it's really two reasons. The first two acts are literally just the movie Seven, and I know
that is what I've heard.
I know you haven't seen it, but it is a copy and paste. Except
That is what I've heard.
Except Paul Dano's Riddler, he's trying so hard to be Kevin Spacey's John Doe, and he's so bad at like
See,
acting like that. I was
I
very disappointed with Paul Dano. Whenever he like him being masked, the masked Riddler, sure, but once he was unmasked, like it felt so much like an actor. Like I wasn't watching like like the character. I was just watching the guy try and act like he was a crazy person, and I absolutely hated that.
you don't see me right now, but I'm agape. My jaw is on the floor.
Why?
I was going to say that the greatest strength of this movie is Paul Dano and Robert Pattinson's performances, particularly in the scene where they talk to each other after he's unmasked.
That scene was awful.
That scene is one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
That scene is awful.
I love when he's like, this wasn't supposed to be like this.
People were laughing.
Everything planned out.
People were laughing.
I was
in our
like,
theater.
I fucking love that. I was thinking about that because it's kind of in line with some other like performances that I've seen. The one that is in my brain is Mandy Patinkin in Sunday, but where the decisions that the actor is making on paper are like so wrong, but then like I don't know, when I watch them I'm like, this like totally works 100%
I
to where it's like
felt the
amazing.
opposite.
I loved that scene. Nobody laughed in my theater, and I was Titus agrees that people were laughing in his theater.
It's embarrassing. It was a cringy performance. It was awkward and embarrassing. Like John
Very
Doe,
interesting.
like Kevin Spacey, when he has that scene, it's so like it's like
Yeah,
terrifying.
I've never seen it. I've got to see it because
Bro, it is
I'm
beat
very-
for beat. It is literally, and that really disappointed me. And then the third act was just a disaster, and I didn't like it.
Really
But
a disaster.
I mean, like flooding a city is so not a Batman threat. Like that's totally
Well,
like
he
a
didn't, like-
Superman thing. Like
He didn't go around and fix the flood. You know, he didn't like stop the
Oh, I know.
walls from collapsing, but it was an opportunity for him.
I'm just
to
saying that kind of disaster should never be in a Batman story. Also, it was like this really thrilling crime thing. Even though it was a copy of Seven, I still thought it was well done and it was great. And then
Yeah.
he's like, but Batman, I have bombs all over the city. And then it's like, and then it turns into like a bomb movie. It was just like, why couldn't you have just kept it a simple story about like corruption? And instead, because his whole shtick was like, hey, we gotta take down the corrupt people. But then he just opens the floods and kills, or tries to kill all the innocent people. And it's like, well, what was your goal then? Why were you doing all of this? I thought it was just the corrupt DA's office.
Yeah, I think it could have worked. It would have been nice if the movie was shorter anyway, but I think it could have worked if the climax of the movie was the Carmine Falcone arrest sequence.
I agree.
'Cause I like John Turturro as Carmine Falcone. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, he was great. I loved all the Carmine Falcone stuff, and all the nightclub stuff was really great. First of all, the movie...
Colin Farrell is fucking awesome.
Yeah, he was okay. I mean...
What?
He'll be used better in later movies, I'm sure. But, like, he was fine.
Yeah, well, he's getting his own TV show.
Oh, that's dumb. Well,
they're doing a GCPD TV show and a Penguin TV show. So they're splitting Gotham, which is already a TV show that exists, into 2 separate TV shows to be spun off of the Batman.
How stupid.
I don't understand it. I also don't understand how you could make that movie and be like, yes, Jim Gordon is the character I really feel the most intrigued by and want to explore. He doesn't do anything. I didn't really figure it out until I watched I watched Adam Does Movies. I watched his review of it, and he was like, all of the scenes with Batman and Jim Gordon are just them figuring out the riddles, and the plot. So, like, he has absolutely no character.
And every scene with them ended with, "We gotta get you out of here, man. We gotta get you out of here, man." Every scene between Jim Gordon and Batman ended with Jim Gordon being approached by other cops and him telling Batman, "We gotta get you out of here, man." Every single time. Every single scene.
I guess it happened a couple times.
For the first 2 acts, every single time they were together.
Interesting.
My theater was also laughing at that. Because it was like...
That's so interesting.
I don't know. Like,
I would not say... Titus says the Penguin was 10 times better and more interesting than Riddler, and I would disagree with that.
I
thought a lot of the Riddler mask stuff, I was expecting it to be very much just like, hello, I'm the Riddler, and I'm going to terrorize the city. But he would, like the scene with the DA where he's like trying to tell a riddle and the DA is, he's all like bombed up and he's like,
I like that
he
scene.
like interrupts him and the Riddler's like, shut the fuck up and let me talk. And he breaks a lot. He like isn't put together. He's very smart and so he can put together the plan, but in execution he's kind of a he's kind of shoddy and emotionally unstable.
Yeah.
In a way that I felt like was believable and
I just didn't like they throw in a line in like the middle of the movie where he's like, he has about 500 followers on Instagram.
That was fucking weird.
And then then they're like, it's a private account, and I was wondering the whole time, like, how are these people following him? Why are they all committed so hardcore to this dude? Like, there's no reason for them to have ever even discovered that the Riddler had an Instagram account where he would talk about this stuff. The whole social media thing was
weird
stupid.
because I thought the social media angle was just that he would post like when he was live streaming the DA thing.
Right.
And I was like, okay, and there are people that would watch that and be like, yeah, there is corruption and I agree with the Riddler. But then they're like, he has a second account where he has been posting for months and the line specifically, he has 500 followers, was strange to me because that's not an impressive number. And I understand that I think it was deliberately not an impressive number because at the end, it had to be a number of people that could realistically show up and try and be Riddler goons. I hated that there were Riddler goons in the third act because it just didn't seem like something that would be happening. But don't say 500. Just don't give a number. He's like, there are a bunch of people that follow this guy. Because when you say 500, it seems, because you don't realize that it's going to be like all of them are supposed to be showing up in Gotham to like snipe the mayor and whatever.
Right.
But like, so when they say it, it's like he has 500 followers, and you're like, oh, so not that many people care about what he has to say. Like, that's what it sounded like to me at first.
To the 50-year-old writer of the film.
Maybe it's that Matt Reeves but Matt Reeves is smart, isn't he? Like, I feel like Matt Reeves is not an idiot.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Something that I really hate about this movie is that the city was basically New York, and New York should never be the basis for Gotham City ever. I never want to see a giant Times Square with giant flat screen televisions, because that's not what Gotham City is. The architecture of New York is not Gothic architecture. That's the the great thing about Chicago is that it's like big arches. There's gargoyles.
Yeah, but Christopher Nolan decided to shoot in all the parts that didn't have those
exactly.
places.
Yeah.
and just have like, oh, stainless steel rods will work.
Yeah.
But
He didn't take
I
advantage
felt
of
like
the slums
this looked
or
like,
anything.
yeah, or the like old, like leftover like Victorian architecture of
Right.
like, you know, the big brick and stone buildings with the, like you said, like gargoyles and stuff. But there is that stuff in New York too. I mean,
I know, but
like I live next to basically the cathedral from.
but
fucking,
they were like too landmarky with New York. Like there was
I
a
don't know.
shot there was a shot early on where they showed like in the corner of the screen it showed the entrance to Gotham Square Garden. And I turned to my friend and I said, "That's so dumb that actually says Gotham Square Garden." And then, of course,
I thought that was fucking weird.
It's the entire third act takes place there, and I wanted to
Yeah.
die the whole time. That scene was completely absurd. That was absurd.
There were elements of it that were. I thought it was strange that the adrenaline he shoots himself up with
God, that was so weird.
was not set up at all.
We didn't know we
They
had
never
it.
were like, and I have this adrenaline in my, because that's not like a Batman thing.
Right.
People are like, it's Venom. He has Venom like what Bane uses. It's setting up Bane, and I'm like, no, it's not.
That's such a reach.
That you're an idiot for that. And I saw somebody tweet like, call me crazy, but like adrenaline doesn't like make you unreasonably angry. And I'm like, yeah, it does. It intensifies everything that you're feeling and doing so that you have extra energy.
Mm-hmm.
And because you have extra energy. Like that's definitionally like what it does. Like
right.
you're an idiot if you think that. It's so strange to me. But I was not overwhelmed by how I thought it looked more like London, and I thought it really looked like what it looks like in like Arkham Knight. Which I guess you've never played Arkham Knight. But that's the
I have not.
That's the Rocksteady Arkham game where you actually are in a living, breathing like Gotham City that is like actually the city and not, you know, walled off like in Arkham City. So it's like the diner that Paul Dano is in is like exactly like the diner from the opening of Arkham Knight. And a lot of the like big bridges and towers and things, the way the city looks from a distance, I felt looked like what Gotham looks like in Arkham Knight. I knew going in that it wasn't going to look like Tim Burton Batman Gotham, because for some reason everybody's decided that Batman has to be the most realistic character ever, and you can't give it any kind of stylistic flourish. So
yeah,
but it did feel like a Batman movie to me.
That's true.
More so, it felt like the first Batman movie in 30 years, where I was like, oh, they remembered how to make it feels like the natural extension of the Arkham games. I feel like you can trace it back directly.
So much like an Arkham game.
Yeah. Which is,
I was
in
fine
my
with,
opinion,
yeah.
pretty great, because Arkham is a great adaptation of Batman.
Do much worse
but
things.
you can trace it back where it's like this back to the Arkham games, and those are kind of based on the animated series, and the animated series is of course a direct offshoot of the Burton movies.
Uh-huh.
So you can it did feel a little bit more like, I mean, like on a basic level, like compared to the Nolan movies or like Zack Snyder, it's like characters had motivations that made sense. The plot was outlined in a way that you could like follow. There was any level of style to it. I don't know how you felt about this. To me, the sequence at the beginning where Batman is narrating and you see all the criminals looking into the shadows and
I like that.
being afraid to go into the
That was
dark.
very Batman.
I think that's one of the best things in any superhero movie. That scene was so insanely well done.
I agree.
I felt like.
Yeah, I liked Robert Pattinson a lot. I thought he was I think he's probably the best balance of Bruce Wayne Batman since Michael Keaton.
I kind of agree. I think the easily to me the best thing about Christian Bale's performance is, and I think everybody agrees on this, is how clearly he's masking the Batman-ness when he plays Bruce Wayne. It's just that his Batman sucks. So like when he's in his natural state, he's not interesting. But when he's like pretending to be a douchebag, it's like the best stuff in the movies every single time. And yeah, I completely agree where that's kind of, but this one obviously didn't really do that at all. It's kind of like Arkham where you almost don't see Batman ever, or you don't see Bruce Wayne like ever. He might not always be wearing the Batman costume, but he's always either, in the Batcave with Alfred, where he's acting like his natural self, which is Batman, because the bit of Batman is that Bruce Wayne is the mask. And he doesn't ever really have to do that. Even when he is in public as Bruce Wayne, he's like moody and not really talking to anybody and is like so I wasn't like over the moon about how he balanced those two. But I wasn't like I thought he was very good at playing what he was playing. I think one of my favorite shots in the movie that I keep thinking of is in the first crime scene when the cop is like walking around the body in the chair and he bumps into Batman.
That was so dumb.
And oh no, it's the best. And Batman's like a foot taller than him, and he's like, "Excuse me," and Batman doesn't fucking move, and he doesn't say anything, and he's just like cold, like stone cold, just like badass, analyzing the situation, and he doesn't care. And like that to me was like
for a joke.
Well, to me it wasn't a joke. It was like,
my
Batman
audience
is fucking scary. And yeah, it seems like you needed to see this without an audience that would laugh at every single thing that even slightly.
No, that was definitely supposed to be a joke. You cannot tell me that wasn't supposed to be a joke.
I think the cop's reaction was maybe sort of humorous, but the purpose of it was that Batman is this fucking terrifying, like, tall monster. I mean, I loved how awesome Batman was as just like a... Like I think one of the best action scenes is when is the pitch black hallway that gets lit just by the muzzle flashes, and he's just getting shot.
Yeah, that was cool.
It doesn't do anything to him. He's just beating everybody up, and all the gunshots are just hitting him. And
I liked the visuals. I thought all of it looked really great. I love the nightclub scenes. Those were.
Are you stopping playing Red Dead?
I am. I'm so over it. It's so boring.
What are you playing?
No, just play 2K.
Okay. Continue what you were saying.
It's just I really enjoyed how the movie looked. I thought the sound was really good. But I don't know. It was just so like that third act was just so bad. It completely shifted.
I've heard other people say that the third act is the worst.
It completely shifts in the kind of movie it's making. It's like if in 7 they caught John Doe and then were like, dude, it's time to like go to a nightclub and just rave with this guy. And that was the ending of the movie.
No, it was not. It was like the twist elevated the stakes to this new place where Batman was tested to make a decision that would make him more of a hero and less of... It was all about, obviously...
You know what I did actually have a problem with, though?
Not vengeance. What?
They introduced...
Did you like anything about this movie?
I liked a lot of things. I just told you I liked how it looked and I liked the sound. I just said 2 things. What I didn't like, they waited way too long to introduce the orphanage thing. Like, that was like late or middle of the second act. And then we find out that Paul Dano was one of the orphans. And like, if you had just set up the whole orphanage thing and like a lot of the Thomas Wayne stuff in the first act, I think the payoff would have been more satisfying.
Yeah, I think it wasn't clear enough that the renewal thing was a Thomas Wayne thing.
Not at all.
And I also think it has a little bit of the Joker problem, where there's like 3 scenes in a row where it's like Thomas Wayne was evil. Riddler leaks to the world that Thomas Wayne was actually bad.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh shit. And then Bruce Wayne goes to Carmine Falcone and he's like, was my dad bad? And Carmine Falcone was like, yeah, your dad was bad and he was evil. And he's like, oh shit. And then he goes to Alfred, and Alfred's like, no, he wasn't. And you're like, okay. And then that's it.
I did like Andy Serkis as Alfred.
Andy Serkis is barely in the movie, though, is the weird thing.
I think that was the perfect amount of Alfred. He helped him a little bit with deciphering the letter, and then he was sort of, the way that you hurt Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I would have liked a little bit more character generally. There's very little. It's a lot of we have to solve the Riddler plot. Yeah. And there's very little exploration of Batman. I felt like the Zoe Kravitz love interest thing didn't really work.
I didn't think it did. Whenever they kissed, I was like, why are you kissing? Like, you haven't had any romantic tension really at all. You stood close to one another, but like,
why are you interested in each other? Is it just because it's Batman and Catwoman?
Yes.
Like, if you were writing that movie and they were original characters, you wouldn't like be compelled to be like, oh, these two seem like they might be in a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's only because it's Batman and Catwoman, and because they're both attractive.
Right.
I guess. And I didn't think that really worked. And like I said, like, Jim Gordon is a non-character. He just is like, we have to solve the Riddler plot. And,
well, there's certain
we don't know anything about his
where I'm just kind of glad we don't know anything about him, because we've heard the Jim Gordon story 800 million times.
That's the thing that I felt overwhelming. I think that's the worst thing about this movie, is that it's the 8th fucking Batman movie. And it's got Jim Gordon and Penguin and Catwoman and Riddler and all these characters we've seen at least 3 or 4 times in other movies before.
Yeah. And the Joker.
And the Joker.
Makes a surprise appearance. When I saw him, I deadass thought it was Two-Face at first.
I don't know, you don't pay attention to these things at all. It was rumored a long time ago that, like a couple months ago, that Barry Keoghan, who was one of the Eternals in Marvel's Eternals, and he was in The Killing of a Sacred Deer with Colin Farrell, the Yorgos Lanthimos movie. It was rumored that he was going to be playing the Joker, that test audiences had seen the movie, and that he was in it as the Joker. And then his brother posted on Instagram, I guess the cat's out of the bag, so excited for my brother to be the Joker in the new Batman movie. And then Matt Reeves was like, Barry Keoghan was in a scene in the original cut, and then we cut it out of the movie, so it's not in there. And apparently they went to like very great lengths to hide this. Like, they had him credited as a police officer, and they actually shot footage of him as a police officer so that it would be believable. They like filmed entire scenes, and it was all for the worst revelation. First of all, why was that in the movie and then there's no end credit scene? Because that's an end credit scene.
Well, there was.
That's not something that's part of the. No, it wasn't.
Goodbye.
And then flashed a website for half a second.
But when that happened, I was like, ooh, people on the internet are going to have a fun time freeze-framing that. They're going to buy another ticket just
Somebody has to have figured it out already. It can't be that interesting, because...
It probably says, some company or something.
Yeah,
he actually ran the program on Dr. Hugo Strange's netverse.
Yeah, the twist is that it's...
Why? You could have made his cellmate literally anyone else. Like, anyone else. That world is built for, weird characters. Like, put Mad Hatter or Calendar Man in there. If Calendar Man was his cellmate, you know how cool of a combo that would be?
Yeah, I'm very interested to see, because it seems like this movie's going to make a fuck ton of money, and it's getting good reviews, and everybody wants there to be a sequel, and Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson want to do a sequel, and there's no reason at all for there to not be a sequel to this movie. So I'm interested to see what they do with it, because, like, are you really gonna do a fucking Joker movie? Like, is that really what the next...
You can't keep going there.
You can't. You can't.
You already set up that
make
Penguin was gonna be...
comparisons even. Yeah, but Penguin's getting his own TV show.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So I'm assuming that's what that's leading into.
That's dumb. They should just make a movie where Penguin takes over Gotham.
That would be great. That would be interesting. And, like, I think the best thing that they could do, and I think the reason that I think it's a bad idea is because there's no way they're going to do this, but the best thing that they could do is, in the second one, really juxtapose Batman with with Mark Hamill Joker. With just, like, a Joker who pulls, like, massive fucking pranks and has, like, bright... I mean, I think the use of color in this movie is, like, pretty great. There's some really great, like, gorgeous,
red,
like,
really?
neons and reds and blue. Yeah. And if you... I mean, you could have some bright greens and purples in the second one. I mean, there could be some cool stuff with that, you know, if you're gonna do Joker. And I think that the other great thing... I think one of this movie's best strengths is also that it's the 8th Batman movie. So, like, as much as that's one of the weaknesses, the fact that you can just mid-movie, there's like a shootout happening, and Batman disappears, and they turn around, and Batman's in the Batmobile. And there's been no setup of a Batmobile. There's been no, how did the Batmobile get there? It doesn't matter, because you're just like, yeah, Batman drives the Batmobile. He probably drove there in the Batmobile. Like, and you don't, like, need any... And obviously, they don't have to tell you that Thomas and Martha Wayne got shot. And, you know,
I'm so glad
really spend a lot of time on that.
I love the shot where Robert Pattinson is, like, looking at the kid. I love that.
Yeah.
That was
all
that
that
was
stuff
really
is
the
great.
best part,
I agree.
in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that. But I liked that it doesn't have to. It knows that this is the 8th Batman movie, so it doesn't have to take so much extra time to fucking like bother you. And I think that in the next one, they could really take advantage of that by having a Batman and Joker that have a long-term relationship. Because that's the most interesting thing you can do with Batman and Joker, and nobody's ever done it in live action, because it's always Batman and Joker's first time meeting each other.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have, like, Heath Ledger's Joker being like, how could I live without you? I'm like, I don't know, you just met him today, so probably easily, you know? But if you're like, this is Batman year 3, and Joker's already in Arkham, so say Batman's put him in there 3 times already. And then you can address the, like, you put the Joker in prison and he just gets back out, and your refusal to kill, because that's something that gets, like, set up in this movie that doesn't really get explored very much, is his refusal to kill.
I think, you know, Batman generally has just that code of honor.
Exactly, but in the second one, you can, like, really, like, you can do, basically, the Killing Joke without literally doing the Killing Joke. You can explore if you're gonna do Joker, I think the groundwork is there for you to be able to use those themes and that style.
Honestly, how I wish the movie ended was just like Batman meeting Riddler in the cell and being like, hey, you're totally right. There's a lot of corrupt people in this fucking world, but killing them is not going to resolve anything. And then he doesn't have the same heart-to-heart with the Riddler that he does with Catwoman. But then he goes, oh, you don't see the big picture. See, I've set up bombs across the city, and then a giant flood will fuck you, and everyone will be forced to go to the middle in Gotham Square Garden. Where
see, I wasn't really bothered by that. I felt like that was
so
mostly
dumb.
Natural evolution of the stakes through the big twist of the mystery. So I was kind of chill with that, and like I said, it tested. I liked the idea of Batman learning that he can't just be vengeance, and he has to be a hopeful superhero figure. Because that's something that's not really been in any Batman movie.
Okay, does he just tell everyone that he's vengeance? Because, like, he told the one guy, and then everyone was calling him vengeance. That might be very nitpicky. I think
he mentioned it once or twice to
but
I don't know.
I was like, why does Batgirl or Catwoman keep calling him vengeance? Like, he's never said that when they've talked.
I watched the Jeremy Johns spoiler talk because Red Letter Media hasn't posted a review, and I was just like, I want to hear people talk about this. Good defense on Zion.
Shut up.
I just saw. I was watching it, and he's like, Batman's name in this movie isn't Batman. Like nobody ever calls him Batman.
No, they all call him
everybody
Vengeance.
calls him Vengeance.
It's like,
and
is
he
that
introduces
your name?
himself as Vengeance. So I think that's interesting. Why isn't it called Batman Vengeance? Because the Batman is a dumb title.
Because he becomes the Batman at the end. He's no longer the Dark Knight. That's the whole thing.
But he was never the Dark Knight.
Yeah, he was. He lived in the shadows. He wasn't really helping people as
yeah, but
Batman
nobody called
should.
him the Dark Knight.
No, but that's like the real caped cowl guy who really is the vigilante. That's the Dark Knight, whereas the Batman is more of the heroic side. So calling it the Batman is kind of a hint at the end that, hey, he's finally going to become the Batman.
I see. But yeah, I don't know. What they do with the sequel is up to them. One thing I would like is in the Max Landis DCU, the Riddler is a member of the Justice Society, which is like Superman's hero team, and he like basically goes to Arkham and is like, "Hey Riddler, help me out with this because you're really smart and I need your help." And then he like becomes a superhero, even though he's mentally ill and kind of evil. He channels that into heroism, and that's like neat. Yeah. And I think there's room to do that. I think if you do like he and Joker are cellmates, and then Joker fucks him over because he's Joker and he's a wild card, and then Batman is like, Riddler, you're the one who knows him the closest. Did you ever, Because I wouldn't. I mean, I guess you hated him, but I would like to see more Paul Dano.
I'm not like against the character. Like I said, I loved the masked parts of Riddler. I just thought Paul Dano's performance was really lame. Though if Paul Dano became more of a comic book accurate, like no mask, just kind of with the cane and the top hat,
it would be really fun if he had like a.
Then I think Paul Dano could do.
In the second one.
Yeah, he could do a better job with that character because he'd be playing less like actually like clinically insane and more like fun insane.
Yeah.
Because that was really cringe in this movie. Like, so embarrassing.
I loved it. I thought it was some of the best stuff in the movie.
I was so embarrassed to be in that theater that time.
I thought all the performances were good. Obviously, like, Jim Gordon and Catwoman have the least to do.
I like that Russian lady. I thought she was really amazing in the film.
She's barely in the movie.
It's just like...
She seemed fine.
Were they like a couple? I didn't understand that.
It was weird that she kept calling her baby.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I was like, what?
I didn't understand what that was. Because
then she goes, it's my friend.
It is like, it's visual storytelling. When you have a girl who pretends to like men and secretly has really short hair and lives with a femme girl who she calls baby, you're like, oh, that's a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not like an unreasonable like inference to draw for an audience. But then she's just like, I like Batman. And she also, like, if she was dating her, if she's bi, whatever, and she was dating this girl, really quick turnaround to be like, I mean, you still haven't even found the body. You still haven't, she's still not even dead. And,
right.
And, like, you don't even know that she's dead, and you're with Batman already. Like,
Yeah.
that seems strange to me. So, like, they can't have been dating. Because even while she thought... I mean, you know, you as the audience, you know that she's going to be dead. It's, like, obviously. But, like, even while she thought that her friend might still be alive, she's, like, kissing Batman and shit.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was a good movie. I liked all, like, the performances and, like, the pacing and the technical stuff all made it good. Good enough to sort of maybe cancel out a bit of the bad stuff.
I thought it was a well-constructed mystery. I don't know, you know, you say it's beat for beat 7, but it's not like the clues and stuff are identical.
Yeah, they're very similar.
I don't know, because I haven't seen it, but...
They are very similar.
Interesting.
It's all very similar. Yeah, I mean, what was I just gonna say? I was gonna say something else about the movie.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, when I got out of the theater, like I said, that's the second best Batman movie. Maybe
You think
third.
it's better than Returns?
Maybe third. I do like Returns.
I would say it's definitely third. What did you think of the similarities to Saw there for a little one with the traps and stuff?
I turned to my friend and I was
kind
like,
of weirdly Saw-like.
why is there so much Sawness going on?
It was weird that the first murder wasn't. If it had always been like that, it's like, okay, this is inspired by Saw, and he does, like, Riddler traps. And that, like, is a neat way to do the Riddler. But it was weird that, like, it was only half of the characters.
Yeah.
Like, why does the one guy just get bludgeoned to death, and then the next guy gets a rat trap thing? And it also wasn't clear... Matt Reeves is like, this is the way I envisioned the movie. It was never intended to be rated R. But, like, no fucking way. Because there's no blood.
No.
There's, like, no blood in the movie.
Said, when I got out of the movie, I was like, I think it did actually a pretty good job of feeling like a rated R movie without being a rated R movie.
I think the feeling was there, but it was very strange. Like, when Carmine Falcone gets shot, you don't even see the wound.
That was weird.
That's a basic thing, even for a PG-13 movie. And I was like, that must have gotten cut for, like, quantity of violence or something like that. Like, there must have been so much violence the rest of the movie that you can't even show this one wound by the end. And then, like, the rat trap is like, there's a rat trap, but, like, how does it work? What like, you don't see it get performed or
rats eat him, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't understand that at all, and you know, the other one was like, he had like a weird, you know, it looked like the bear trap around his neck or whatever, but it was just, he just had a bomb with a lock on it, so like, I guess that's kind of Saw-like, but it wasn't like this complex thing. It wasn't like a...
Yeah. It was
I don't know.
It was all eh. It was all eh. Such an eh movie. And that's okay.
I thought some of it was so... I really, for the first 15 minutes, I was like, this is going to be the best superhero movie of all time. Because that first Riddler murder is, like, terrifying with the guy, and then Riddler's just, like, standing behind him.
Yeah, that was cool.
And there's just like, he just doesn't move, and he doesn't move, and he doesn't move, and then all of a sudden he's like, ah, and he fucking kills him. And you're like, wow, that's fucking... And, you know, Ave Maria playing over the... No, it wasn't super... I guess I was expecting it to be not at all Riddler-like.
Well,
and there was a little bit of personality to him, and I was expecting there to be none.
At this point, should we, like, ever expect, like, comic book accurate DC villains, or are they always just going to be ultra dark and sad all the time and grimy and miserable? Because that's... Because Heath Ledger's success has really set that as being the only way you can do it.
Superhero movies forever, and particularly Batman, because you know what? I'll give Zack Snyder credit for one thing, and it's the thing that everybody gives him credit for with Batman v Superman, is Ben Affleck as Batman is good, and it's not at all Dark Knight. It's very much like DC Comics Batman, where he's designed as a character to exist in a world full of comic book characters like Superman and Wonder Woman, and to coexist with that, you can't do Dark Knight.
Right.
You just can't do it. But Matt Reeves here is making a movie that he wants to stand on its own and not have to integrate. He's already said, like, Superman really can't exist in my universe because it's just too grounded.
Mm-hmm.
And, Superman could have existed in the Michael Keaton movies. Like, it's elevated to a, like, weird, to be, like, kind of fantastical and ridiculous.
I agree.
And I just, this... I know, like, in interviews, like, Robert Pattinson is like, maybe we could do Clayface in the next one. And I'm like, never in a trillion years could Clayface work in the next
Because that's like
movie.
a science fiction
Unless you
movie.
completely change Clayface.
Yeah.
But, like, the Riddler, if you just don't put him in spandex, he's really not that silly,
Right.
You don't put him in spandex and you give his riddles real consequences, and he's not that silly. And I thought this kind of walked the line, in a way that The Dark Knight doesn't, where, like, the Joker is just a different character that they call Joker, or in a way that the Joker movie doesn't. That's why I don't want the next one to have Joker in it, is because there's no fucking way they're going to do the Joker. They're going to do guy with a clown face,
right,
who is a Batman villain. And
right,
the rest doesn't matter, because what's important is that he has a clown face and he laughs. And like...
But he won't laugh or really make jokes. Because...
Yeah, he doesn't... Joker doesn't make jokes. Joker doesn't find amusement in things. He just laughs because it's creepy to do that.
Yeah.
He just... Yeah. Of course.
That's just sarcasm.
He doesn't play elaborate pranks that...
No, that's
have
totally not
real
the entire
consequences
point of
because
his
he's
character.
genuinely amused by the suffering of other people because he's a sociopath. That's not what the idea of the Joker is. The idea of the Joker is that he's a serial killer who also laughs at things and wears clown makeup.
The idea that Joker is like a mastermind, I don't like.
I don't like the idea that he's a mastermind in the way that The Dark Knight does it, where he's I hate when he burns the money and he's like, it's about sending a message, because it's the opposite of that.
That's what I mean. The Joker never has
no
a
intent.
deeper meaning behind what he's doing. Like, there's no, like, I'm trying to make a statement about something. That's not the Joker. He can be a mastermind in the way that he comes up with convoluted plans to murder and destroy people. Yeah.
Because I don't like the Joaquin Phoenix version either, where he just kind of, like, accidentally... He, like, shoots a guy and he's, like, accidentally a supervillain. Yeah. Like, that's not... I don't want him to be that level of incompetent, but it's in that comic booky way that they're avoiding now in these movies. And that was something that I did like about this, is, the Dark Knight movies, it's like... Alright, Lucius, tell me how the tumbler works. Tell me how this cape works. Tell me what kind of material my batarangs are made out of in specific detail, and then I'm going to carve the batarangs myself so that you can see how, and I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. But in this one, it's just like he has the batarangs. He has a car. I didn't like the like, squirrel suit gliding thing.
That was so
I didn't like that
dumb.
That was a joke. I thought that was weird that was a joke, because it's literally the only time in the movie that Batman is incompetent, and it felt so out of character. And when that happened, I was like, that's so fucking weird. They must be leading into this thing where Batman is going to start slipping up and being really, like, out of character and fucked, and, like,
bro.
he's, like, in over his head, and then that just doesn't happen. He just continues to be, like, a super badass the whole movie. I'm like, why did you have that? And it was dumb looking. Batman can just glide with his cape. It's okay.
Yeah. What I did like is that, they didn't establish Batman's origins. Like, much like Michael Keaton's Batman, you start the movie and Batman is already Batman. He's already doing things. People already have a negative opinion of him. That's a crucial part of Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested to see, because, at the end of this, everybody kind of has a positive opinion of him.
Mm-hmm.
He's become like a hero in the light, and he doesn't rely on the shadows, and he no longer wants to just use fear as a weapon, which is great for like a solo movie. But if you're gonna do a sequel, I don't know where they'll go from there, you know?
Yeah, because the thing I've always liked about Batman, especially in the comics I've read, is like him trying to solve a crime while the police are sort of after him, and while the villains are sort of after him, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the police being a real threat to him, and that, like, misunderstanding, I've always enjoyed that. I think that's really interesting, and makes it
I liked the scene where Jim Gordon helps him out of the... I know it's, like, a repetition, like you said, I get that, but I wasn't thinking of it at the time. But I liked the scene where Jim Gordon helps him, you know, get out of jail, and then he has to, like, run away, and all the cops are... I thought it was well shot.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool.
Everything was well
concept
shot.
And execution.
A lot of great
framing. It really was super well shot.
Really cool stuff.
It was a really pretty movie.
And I thought the Nirvana song worked, actually.
Yeah, I've heard some people complain about that. The rest of the music, the music is interesting, because like we talked about last week, the Batman '89 is like my favorite score in the history of movies. And in this one, it's just dung, 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 dung.
I saw someone on Twitter be like, "Can we just all prepare ourselves and admit that the Batman is the greatest score of all time?" And
That's
I was
crazy.
Like, holy shit! It's like 3 notes, my guy.
It's literally 2 notes. It's literally dung, dung, and there's a part where Michael Giacchino, the brilliant Michael Giacchino, gives up and is just dung, 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 and doesn't even pretend that it's more than 2 notes.
Yeah.
And he doesn't repeat the first one. It's so strange to me. I mean, the first couple times it happens, they repeat it, and then it like builds and it swells, and then it comes back down. So it's like dun 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 dun, and then it comes back down, dun 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 dun, and that's like neat.
Yeah.
But it's a 3-hour fucking movie, and like that's your main Batman theme is like just those 2 notes, and it's just
I have a question.
Insufferable by the end.
I don't know if you will know the answer to this question, because I don't know. I think it stems like past like the movie, but the use of opera for like serial killer characters is like a popular thing, and I'm wondering if that's like a real life thing or what. Because
I mean, I don't know. Like, Ave Maria is a cool song. I thought it was well utilized.
I thought it was,
too. It felt very tropey.
Yeah, but it was a bit tropey in how it was used, which I thought was fine. But I'm just more curious, like, is there a reason why every serial killer in every movie listens to opera music?
I don't know. You know, there's a side quest in Arkham Knight where you run around Gotham City and you can listen for opera music, and it'll lead you to a serial killer that you have to stop.
How bizarre! Because, you know, Hannibal Lecter listens to it. The Riddler listens to it in this. Like, on multiple occasions.
It is kind of a common thing that happens.
I noticed that while I was watching the movie. I was like, I wonder if that's a real, like, thing. It's in Clockwork Orange, too, actually.
Oh, yeah, because they're beating the shit out of those people in music. But Titus, I agree with you that it is effective in some scenes. I thought there were a couple like nods to the Danny Elfman score potentially, because those little like those things that are all over the Batman '89 score, that pops up in a couple of the like spookier scenes in this, and the Catwoman theme. Has a lot of the same like high strings as the Batman Returns Catwoman theme with the like.
I say you just have the Batman score until that prison scene, and then you cue classic Batman '89 Flowers theme. No, the Flowers theme. And what a shock, what a freaking shock that would have been in the theater. I still think my idea could
Yeah,
be amazing.
pitch it.
My idea was like, you know, the scene where Riddler goes to the prison cell, and his cell, the cell next to him, has Joker in it. I thought instead of Joker, they should have Poison Ivy, and she could like say some dumb line, and you hear that female voice, and we get just a little peek in her cell. Maybe we see like a leaf or something. But once she says her line of dialogue, cue that Flowers music from the Batman '89. Yeah, and then they like maybe they like go on like a little do some little banter, and then it like pans out, or pulls out, and then it shows like 3 other cells, and it's Mr. Freeze, Clayface, and Two-Face, and then it does the big Flowers sting, the wah wah, that part. And and then that's the end of the movie. How, thus setting up the greatest cinematic universe of all time, which is the Lego Batman cinematic universe.
Yeah, and then the
How
next 3 movies
beautiful.
are just the 3 chapters
Yes.
of Lego Batman.
How amazing would that have been? I would have shit
been
my
awesome.
pants. I actually would have shit myself.
There's no way, I can't even conceive of that happening, because, like, obviously it wouldn't happen.
It would if I was there.
Sure.
I would have made that happen. That's the great thing about filmmaking and wanting to be a filmmaker, is like you can
be like,
fuck
I
with
would've
all
done
this
this.
shit when if you get that job, you know. Like Ryan Johnson, when he made The Last Jedi, the amount of power that man had. Holy
That was amazing.
fuck.
That must have been a dream. He's like, oh, you know what I would do with Star
They
Wars?
just
It's
handed
like,
Star
fuck it.
Wars to like Looper guy.
To the guy who made Looper. Yeah. I mean, it would have been fun.
Thank you, Titus.
Like, obviously that wouldn't have happened. But I don't know.
Because then you have like the classic. You could literally pick up right after that. Because the beginning of the Batman game is they all break out, you know? You just do that at the beginning of the next one. And then you just start the whole... It's literally perfect! It's all there, Matt.
It's all there. Yeah. I am interested because they've kind of written themselves into this hole when it comes to Batman villains, because they're either gonna do the same thing or the other choices are just the worst possible choices. Like, it's either creepy serial killer guy, which would be like Joker, Mad Hatter, Scarecrow,
Victor Zsasz.
Victor Zsasz.
I
yeah.
think his cellmate should have been Victor Zsasz. That would have made a lot of sense.
That could have been neat. Or like secret organization, like the Court of Owls is like very popular right now. Robert Pattinson wants to do the Court of Owls, he said in the second one. But it would just be like, if you spend this whole movie being like, actually I'm exposing this like secret underground organization that exists that corrupts all of the politics, and then the second one is like, twist, there's another one of those. It would just be like redundant and lame. Or you could do, you know, like the League of Assassins or League of Shadows, and that would be the same thing. Or then you have like Killer Croc and Clayface and Bane and like all these dumb characters that wouldn't function. I think the best choice is either do Joker the right way, which they won't do, or Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze, I think, is a good meet in the middle.
Well, the tough thing about Mr. Freeze is that it sort of goes into that sci-fi thing.
It does, but you can totally run it. I mean, the nice thing about this
Gotham
movie is
did a
it's
good
not...
job of that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Gotham
I think
really
you could
was
take it
good.
even just one step up from Gotham and really make it... Again, I think the use of color with Mr. Freeze could be really fun.
Yeah.
And make him, you know, just a little bit more high-tech. The same way that, you know, Batman is kind of high-tech in this.
The thing,
the
thing now, though, is like, you can't have Batman with the red anymore. You know? Because that was kind of, like, he's evolved.
Yeah, it would
out
have to
of
be.
the red.
But you know what? In a second movie with Mr. Freeze and Batman, so much, like, and good Batman, blue.
Yeah.
You do the whole thing with lots of blue.
And the end could just be, like, Batman realizing, hey, you know... Because the whole thing with Mr. Freeze is he really is just, like, a sad guy who who lost his wife and his.
I agree. Arnold Schwarzenegger should definitely be back in the next one.
He's so good, dude. Can we
He's
just
so good in that movie.
like admit that he needed Best Supporting Actor nod for that film?
I agree.
Because I mean, like, Who Killed the Dinosaurs? The Ice Age is one of the greatest line deliveries of all time.
It's like Rosebud.
It's like it's just
the
like
Rosebud of our generation.
But slightly better, I would say.
Play It Again, Sam.
Oh, that is such a good movie. Have you seen that yet?
Here's looking at you, kid. I've not seen Casablanca.
I'm shocked you know the Play It Again, Sam.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
That one's just
here's
less
my.
famous.
I've long thought that this would be a good idea for a Batman movie, and I think it's the perfect idea for the sequel to this Batman movie. And I'm just gonna pitch it real quick because it's not a complicated pitch. Mr. Freeze as the villain. Die Hard with Batman.
What do you mean?
It's Batman in the Boyle, the Gothcorp Tower, which is where Mr. Freeze works in the animated series, and he hates the CEO of Gothcorp, Ferris Boyle. And you have Batman. Bruce Wayne is attending the humanitarian award party for Ferris Boyle, this is all out of the animated series. He's attending the party. Mr. Freeze shows up. Bruce Wayne ducks into a corner. Like the opening sequence can have a little bit of him, testing out the Bruce Wayne persona, trying to be a little bit more overly friendly and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mr. Freeze attacks. He gets stuck in the building. He freezes over all the entrances. And the rest of the movie is Bruce Wayne in as Batman. He manages to change into Batman, however you could pull that off. As Batman, stuck in this building. Jim Gordon is outside. And over the course of the movie, he and Jim Gordon get to know each other as people. You develop their relationship. The theme of the movie is the theme of Heart of Ice, which is that bad people or good people can do bad things, and bad people can do good things, because of course the payoff of the Mr. Freeze thing is that Ferris Boyle ends up being the bad guy, even though he's a humanitarian and he's this great CEO guy. And you could totally pull this off in such a cool way. And you're in essentially Wayne Tech, this tower where you can have,
Tech.
Pamela Isley, Jonathan Crane, some of the scientists of the Batman verse, floors that are you could have
the botanical floor,
him getting stuck in the botany shit or psychedelics, stuff with Jonathan Crane or
that would be
Mad
really
Hatter
cool.
Or whatever, and by the end he's learned his lesson and gotten to know fucking Jim Gordon on the outside, because he's all he can talk, and it's literally just Die Hard, but it's with Batman.
That'd be cool.
It would be so fucking good, and it's so, I feel like it's so perfect for a sequel to. It's just
well, the perfect
tonally,
sequel
stylistically, kind of
would be the Lego Batman Cinematic Universe.
That's true.
But
no, I agree
your
with
idea
that.
is also good.
Thank you, Titus. I want the newer Dredd movie with Batman. I have not seen the newer Dredd, but I think that I know what you're talking about, because he's in the same building for most of it, I think.
Yeah, he says, which is basically the same as that.
Yeah. So that's pretty chill. But yeah, that's an idea I've had for a long time for a Batman movie that I just thought would be cool, and I'm like, that would be really good for this, because like I said, I think Mr. Freeze is one of your best options in terms of, especially with how big the stakes got in this one. You don't want Killer Croc, where it's just a monster.
You can't. No monsters allowed in this world.
Well, yeah, that too. You could do a semi-realistic Killer Croc where he just has a skin disease or whatever, but it wouldn't be.
It wouldn't be cool,
work, really.
It wouldn't be Killer Croc.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll want to do that. I should give them the I Am Not a Monster screenplay I wrote when I was 10. Do you remember that?
That'd be a good one. I do.
I think I asked you to edit that or something.
I don't know.
Where he's just sort of he might just have skin disease and it'll be a sad melodrama about classism and how lower class is a product of its past and it's never allowed to evolve. It could be, and that's what Killer Croc really is all about.
Yeah, I mean it kind of is what Killer Croc is all about.
No, it's not.
If you like actually dig into his character at all.
Wasn't he like a broke wrestler in this whole thing?
He's been a wrestler, he's been a circus freak, he's been a couple different things like that. But
you know, mine was a boxer, and I Am Not a Monster. He was a boxer.
Oh, I thought he was a ninja. Wasn't he a ninja?
No, he was a boxing ninja. He like did like taekwondo or like whatever the boxing kind of was.
I see.
It was an amazing screenplay. Took a lot of influence from my favorite auteur, Stanley Cooper. I was writing that.
All right.
Yeah, I thought Batman was pretty okay.
Yeah,
I'm not married to it. I don't think it's. If I had to I would never do this, and I know you hate doing this, but everyone's been talking about the Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie. If I had to give it a Rotten Tomatoes score, I'd give it like a 75, 74, 75.
I'd give it a like in the 80s probably, something like that. I was really on the fence at first, and I think it's over the last day and a half, it's kind of settled into a pretty comfortable like. I think I'm like. It's pretty good. It's one of the better Batman movies, but it's not good enough to be up there with the.
Is it hard to be one of the better Batman movies?
No, that's the thing. It is comfortably one of the better Batman movies, and it is good, which very few Batman movies are. But
isn't it kind of sad how hard it is?
It's not nearly as good as the Burton one. It's weird how hard it is to make a good Batman movie because it's really easy to write a Batman comic historically. Yeah. It's like ungodly easy. Like there are so many good Batman comics.
They just need to make a live-action Long Halloween. It would be so cool.
Well, that's what they keep trying to fucking do. I mean, they don't literally adapt the Long Halloween because literal adaptations of comic books generally aren't a thing, which I actually am very happy that that's not a thing because, like, I've seen the animated adaptations of some of those. You know, I've seen the animated Killing Joke. Thank God they never tried to make, like, a live-action direct Killing Joke because it wouldn't have been interesting. That movie without Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill would be not very special or good. Mm-hmm. Like, I like that they write superhero movies essentially as comic books, but as movies, where it's just you just write a new story with the same characters. Mm-hmm. But man, like they keep trying to do stylistically the fucking Long Halloween.
Well, I don't.
And they don't do it right. It's been so long since I've read The Long Halloween, so I do need a little bit of a refresher, but like this
they
one...
They don't do it right.
Like, yeah. This
they
one,
think,
like...
if I put Carmine Falcone in there, it will automatically be, like...
The Long Halloween.
Long Halloween.
Well, that was the thing with... The Dark Knight is the one that is, I think, the most directly supposed to be based on The Long Halloween, because, like, a lot of people have... I mean, Christopher Nolan... The big dynamic of Batman, Harvey Dent, and Jim Gordon meeting on the rooftop to talk about the big, mass murderer that's going around, and Two-Face stuff at the end, and all that obviously is very... And they already used Falcone, but Sal Maroni and all of that stuff, like, is very obviously Long Halloween. But,
yeah.
But it's not as good.
I thought this was more Long Halloween.
More Long Halloween. Yeah, this one is also based on Long Halloween, and because it's actually like competent and is like has like a villain that makes sense and is like.
What the
well written and what have you. I think that's probably the reason.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind more, you know. I based this one on The Killing Joke. I based this one on, you know, Batman 89 is based on The Killing Joke. Came out a year after The Killing Joke.
God,
And
that's such a perfect movie.
so good. I rewatched Batman Returns today.
Oh yeah.
As you know, and
because I had to hear the last 30 minutes.
it's a great movie.
What a great film.
There's so much in it. One, it's weird, like, rewatching the Burton movies, it's weird how directly they influenced the Lego games.
Oh, yeah.
The first Lego game. Because, like, that came out in, like, the mid-2000s, like, after Batman Begins. And it's straight up just the Burton movies. It's so weird. Like, the Arctic world at the zoo, and you know, Penguin and Catwoman teaming up, and their dynamic as characters.
The villain selection in that game was really great. Like, the teams they built were, like, perfect. Because I wouldn't have really wanted really Scarecrow like, part of Riddler's. Like, I don't know, just the way that they each jive, like, Joker and Harley Quinn and Killer Moth, like, that is a great combo.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a solid game.
It really is.
But it's also weird, like, watching that movie, I'm trying to picture a filmmaker in the modern day I was, like, trying to picture, like, Danny DeVito sitting in the toy Batmobile that he uses to control.
Can't make it today.
And I'm like, I'm trying to imagine that, like, shot on digital.
Was this shot on film?
I don't know.
I could not tell.
I don't know. I think it was probably digital.
I sat fairly close to the screen. So I don't know if I was just seeing the screen texture or if that was actual
yeah, I don't know.
Film. But if it was, that's pretty impressive. Like, the different lighting things they did, that is all way more impressive if that was on film.
Yeah. I thought, but yeah, like watching Batman Returns, I'm like, you just couldn't. If you were to do it like exactly this plot today, he wouldn't be in a toy Batmobile. You know what I mean? Like, he would just be controlling it on a device.
Mm-hmm.
And little things like that are, like, the entirety of what makes the Burton movies so special. You know, obviously, like, the problem with modern Tim Burton is that he uses CGI. Because he's not in control of visual effects, but he was in control of production design. And he was really fucking good at production design.
Well, he made Gotham City. He literally made Gotham City on Warner Bros. Lot.
Yeah.
And that was so
looking
cool.
at in Batman Returns, looking at that fucking town square set with the giant statues tree. and the Christmas tree and it's so perfect.
Yeah,
it's
really
so
is.
perfectly Gotham, and all the big, like, fans, and obviously in the first one, you know, it's been a little longer since I've watched it, but the cathedral is obviously very, very Gotham, and it's just, I don't know. You just can't make stuff like that anymore. Nobody makes anything like that, and it's sad.
It is. I agree.
I miss superhero movies. You know,
Mm.
you know, even in better, you know, more superhero-y movies, like, I'm trying to picture something like that happening in an MCU movie. Even the goofiest one. Like, I can't imagine that happening in, like, Guardians of the Galaxy. Because it just has to be so much, like, sleeker and... I don't know.
You can't make campy superhero movies anymore.
No. No. They can be goofy, but they can't be campy. It's interesting.
I'm pretty good at.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do going forward.
Hoping that making the My Team
Me too.
tournament
I'll see the next one. I'll watch the.
My streaming.
As much as I'm like,
I've been trying to get into that.
why the fuck is,
and just trying
or why did you want to make a Penguin show? Like, what about this character was so fascinating to you that you wanted to make an entire TV show about him? I'll watch more of Colin Farrell as Penguin because I thought he was entertaining.
I will not. I didn't find him too amazing.
No, I mean, he was not like a special character. I just thought he was kind of fun. So I'm like, yeah, I'll watch a TV show. You know, assuming it's a good TV show.
We need James Gunn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Like, the Suicide Squad, as much as, like, the Suicide Squad wasn't my favorite thing in the world, like, I was like, I understand why they're gonna make a Peacemaker TV show. Like, in the movie, he's, like, a deep character. He like, makes that big decision at the end about, you know, the thumb drive, and he, like, is, like, the funniest guy in the movie, too, and it's just, like, it made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
This one doesn't make as much sense.
I agree.
I would say the Batman is one of the better DC movies in the last.
Oh, sure.
Again, that's not hard.
That's not
but
hard.
Like, yeah, but like.
And that's the difference when praising Marvel versus DC. Because when you praise a Marvel movie for being good, it really is like really good.
Oh, if the Penguin show is a prequel, I will kill somebody. That's so upsetting if that's true, because I don't care about the origins of that Penguin.
Oh my god, they're making it a prequel?
Who would even give a shit? Oh my god.
How you doing, Diego?
Sick of prequels. Yeah, hi, Diego. I'm so sick of prequels. Prequels are the most unnecessary fucking thing on the face of the planet. I could not give a shit about what happened prior to the story that I liked. I want to see what happens next. I want to see you evolve the world in a meaningful way. A prequel, like, by definition, cannot evolve the world in a meaningful way.
Yeah, like, even if you look at, like, the Star Wars prequels, they didn't really make any difference in the world of Star Wars.
No, they didn't progress anything.
Actually, it regressed.
Yeah, of course.
Because, well, they did add one thing that really expanded the world for a lot of people. And that was Dexter Jetster.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
My lord.
Yeah, great character. But, you know, one incredibly well-written, well-designed, physically attractive character doesn't make up for an entire movie of...
No, I agree.
If it's his rise to power, I'm just gonna kill someone. What is his rise to power? He's not even... We saw his rise to power in this movie. He takes it over from Carmine Falcone. We already saw that. We're gonna see how he rose to the part before he got the power that he's at by the time of this movie. We're gonna see him be a drug smuggler.
We're gonna see him get to head of 44 Lounge, Iceberg Lounge.
Who gives a fuck? If that's true, if the GCPD show is a frickin'...
I agree, Titus.
I agree, Titus. If the GCPD show is a prequel, that'll be upsetting too. I would really like to see, like, GCPD characters in the... You know, the nice thing about those TV shows is that, unlike Gotham, they're going to be given something of a budget. You know, Peacemaker looks like a movie. Peacemaker looks like the Suicide Squad. So if you have Matt Reeves involved making those TV shows that are, you know, actually part of the DCEU, then they're going to get real money put into them. They're not going to look like a CW show.
Right.
So, you know, they could feel more, like, legitimate, and... Because the way that Gotham looks just makes it look so cheap and...
Look cartoony in this movie.
The Penguin?
No, Gotham.
Or just everything? I don't know. It looked like...
I did not like that they made it based off of New York. It really bothered me.
It really did not look like New York to me at all, aside from Madison Square Garden.
Oh my god, they had shots of, like, Times Square. It was literally just Times Square. I was like,
I don't even remember those.
why? Why do you have shots of Times Square?
I don't know.
It was very
I wasn't
off-putting.
bothered by that.
Because, like, the thing about, like, shooting in Chicago, like, you can say whatever you want, but Nolan never showed, like, significant Chicago landmarks.
No, he
Like,
wasn't like your
Batman was never at the Bean. Like,
yeah.
and if you just, like, if you're gonna base it off a city, like, or be filming in a city, especially for Gotham, like, you can't be showing such, like, quintessential parts of a city.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Madison Square Garden has a place in a Batman movie. But
it's
I think
Gotham.
historically people would disagree with you about it not about Gotham shouldn't be based on New York because it is pretty famously
Based off
agreed upon
Chicago?
that it's based on no, it's based on New York.
No, it's
The
based on
Chicago
Chicago.
thing. No, dude, the Chicago thing came about from the Nolan movie.
That's not true.
That's why you and I think of it's true.
It's not
It's
true.
100% true. I mean, you
really
can
not.
ask anybody who knows anything about Batman movies. It's based on New York City.
I mean, maybe, but, like, it should be based off Chicago. And
I agree. Like that's how I would do it, but I don't think that that means it absolutely shouldn't be.
I think New York is.
Oh, Matt
lame.
Reeves says that he thought it looked nice.
Wow.
So that's like the Watchmen commentary. Zack Snyder's like, I thought it looked cool. I did this because I thought it looked cool.
He's definitely worthy of his $285
Academy
million
Award.
budget.
Fucking Zack Snyder. You know he's gonna win an Oscar
Why? Ow.
for Army of the Dead for fan favorite film, the new category at the Academy Awards.
Is
which
that a real category?
That's the one that Soups is presenting. It's a real thing, and of course, you know the like fucking batshit people on Twitter that think that Zack Snyder is like.
Yeah, but
I mean,
it's
you gotta
not
see
a
the
real
voting.
Oscar. It's not
No,
presented on
but
Oscar night.
No, I think it is like a separate thing, which is nice. But it's like, it's an Academy Award, indefinite. It's an award presented by the Academy.
It's presented by Soups. Soups is not a member of the Academy.
No, but the Academy.
Can you imagine if
selects
Soups
the
became a
movie.
member of the Academy? I'd fucking kill myself.
That'd be
That means there's no hope for any legitimate creator ever anymore.
no. Soups is embarrassing. Soups is the TikTok generation's version of Screen Junkies. Is all he
Look,
is.
Soup seems like a really nice guy.
He really
And
does.
I'm glad that he's found, a meaning in his life. Because he has weird-ass hands, and he probably would kill himself if he wasn't, on such a hot streak right now. But,
But his meaning is to shill for studios and have bad opinions.
yes.
Have no opinion.
He's a giant shill! Get off the couch, Hannah.
He's like an actual shill. He's like actually paid by Warner
Yeah.
Brothers now. And by the Academy and by Nuvi. He's a fucking Nuvi host. Maria Menounos never presented an Academy Award.
It's Hannah. Look, it's my dog. Remember Hannah?
I went to a dog cafe today here in New York City.
Oh, yeah? You just eat with a bunch of dogs around you?
Yeah, you get like coffee or whatever. And
Were there cute dogs?
there were a lot of cute dogs. I guess they're not supplied by the cafe. People bring
Oh.
their dogs. And so some of the dogs were like pissing and shit, but it was chill. Some of them got like violently angry at each other. And
That's
at one
so
point,
funny, though.
at one point, one of the dogs started like trying to hump all the other dogs. So it would like fully mount the dogs and start humping, and people would have to like pull this dog off
Damn.
the other dogs.
Who'd you go with?
My roommate Ron
Nice.
was invited by some other people, and he was like, "Hey Finn, come along." So then I met all the other people that were there.
Nice. Good job.
Very.
Good job, Finn.
Thanks, Solomon. We're live streaming.
Diego hates soups. I feel like that kind of is shocking to me. I don't think
I
if Diego
hate
is hating
soups.
anyone.
I don't know Diego well enough.
Diego's not a hateful man.
He's
But
not a hateful man.
maybe
I
Soups
believe
is where
that.
he breaks.
Soups is I wouldn't say I hate Soups, but it is bothersome. That
If you were
he's-
given if you were given a 44 Magnum pistol, Diego, and Soup suddenly appeared, bounded to a chair by duct tape, would you shoot him in the head?
Can we talk about how important it is that Don't Look Up wins Best Picture? I haven't seen many of the Best Picture nominees, and I don't really care at this point. But Don't Look Up is not the best movie nominated. I like West Side Story is better. I've only seen 3 of them, and I would rank them. West Side Story is my favorite. Don't Look Up is pretty good, and Dune is barely a movie.
I want to see
And
Nightmare
I'm
Alley.
sure some of the other. Yeah, I'm interested in Nightmare Alley. I've kind of given up.
So
I kind of am just like, fuck it. But like, you know, whatever.
Finn, do you
Maybe I'll
want
see
to
one
know
of them
something
sometime.
cool? That was
What?
today. I don't think you know
What was
this.
today?
Today was Moon Valley Garage Sale,
Oh my god.
and we went,
Did you?
and it was the shittiest thing. No one does
That's
it
okay.
anymore. No one does
That's
it.
okay.
There were 4 houses in total. Isn't that sad?
That is sad.
But I got a cool screwdriver for 50 cents.
Well, then it was all worth it.
It was all worth it. Are you standing right now?
No,
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Where do you sit? Talk about
I
your
sit at my
dorm.
desk.
You're at your
I
desk.
sit at my
right now.
desk. My desk. So
fascinating.
yeah. So there's the door to my dorm, and if you walk straight, you'll walk up to the side of my desk and my chair, and then if you turn left, you will be facing. You'll be, you know, facing my desk, and you're sitting in my chair.
That's fascinating. Where do you eat your
And then
Where do you
behind me
eat
is
your
my desk.
pad thai every day?
Well, I used to eat it at the desk that is next to my desk because nobody was using it. So we called it the eating desk. But now that Ron is there, he has so much shit. He has so much fucking shit on him. I eat it at my desk. I clear a little space.
Wow.
I eat it at my desk.
Do you ever a little bit of resentment towards Ron? For
I do.
Do
I
you?
do.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually hate Ron.
Do you ever?
Alex got laid last night.
I know. I
Did
saw
you
on your
hear that?
Twitter.
That's so
Was it
exciting.
in your
I was
room?
so- No.
Okay.
No, so it was kind of weird.
Wait,
'cause-
was he a
'cause, you know,
virgin?
yeah.
Oh
So
shit.
we're gonna talk about this on the stream.
Yeah, we are.
My roommate Alex is a very lit guy, and he was a virgin, and he had kind of been. I mean, he's pretty chill about it. He doesn't really complain about anything, and he last night, Ron and I were chilling in the room, and it was like 1 a.m. and Alex comes in, and he's like, "Yo, what's up?" And we talked a little bit, and something came up about like, would you, you know, how attractive is this girl? Would you? I think it was like one of his friends back
classic
home.
college boy talk. Just
Such classic.
just some banter between the
and-
boys.
Yeah, and Alex was like, absolutely, and he's like, I would fuck anybody, you know.
Classic boy thing to say.
And we were like, well, that's great. And we were like, all right, chilling. And then he was like, I'm gonna leave. And we were like, oh, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to Third North, to hang out with this girl. And I was like, oh, are you gonna have sex, like as like a meme? Cause like, I figured the answer would be no because whenever I've asked him that in the past, it's been no. And I was like, oh, are you gonna fuck her? And he was like, probably. And I was like, what? And then he left. And then this morning we woke up, and I had forgotten that had happened. And Ron was like, hey, Alex. Alex was back in the room. He was like, hey, Alex, did you hook up with that girl? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, holy shit.
Wow. Round of applause in the chat for Alex. What a great joke that was.
What joke?
Well, he did it for a meme, didn't he? Didn't you just say that?
What meme? I made the joke about him not typically having sex. Is that what you're talking about?
I think we're sort of on a miscommunication here. Let's move on to our next subject.
Terrible.
How would you rate New York City
Out of
as
10?
far as location? Yeah.
As far as location,
Yeah.
like where it is relative to other places.
Yeah, like
Or-
what would you rate like things to do in New York? How would you rate that out of 10? Like how city
like,
of
as a place
city
to live?
is it? You know?
It seems like there's stuff to do. I don't like to do many things, I've found. So, like, I like to see movies, play video games, talk to people.
How have you navigated the subway?
The subway's pretty chill.
Ooh, Titus poses an interesting question.
Is it better to live there or to visit? It's much better to visit.
Interesting.
When you live here, I mean, I didn't have to pay for my car back home. So not having a car is potentially nicer. Being able to walk everywhere is potentially nicer than having to pay for your own car. But in my experience in Phoenix was I didn't have to pay for my car, so I kind of missed that.
So really, it's all about the car for you. You're really a
That's
material
a big
focused
I mean,
guy.
Well, no, it's transportation. I mean, to go anywhere, I have to commit myself to a 15-minute walk every single time. And that's like a hassle. What if I can drive my car? Not as much of a hassle.
So you're just more so like against like exercise.
Certainly.
Interesting. Very interesting. Let me ask you another question, Finn.
Go for it.
If you had to rate NYU out of 10, and the sort of education you're getting, let's start off with academics. How is the academic NYU education? How is that?
Like non-film stuff?
That's
or
right.
just all of it?
That would mean academics, not arts.
Okay.
Dumbass.
Does my does my English class where I write essays about art stuff count?
What's the name of that class, Finn?
Writing the essay. Art and the world.
Oh fuck. Let's count it as an academic.
Okay.
Would you consider
So
the
everything
teacher to
except
be
my cinema
knowledgeable
studies class.
of a specific art?
The art of writing essays about art.
No, but would you consider the teacher to be, like, knowledgeable about a specific type of art?
Writing essays.
So what is the academic experience like out of 10?
Out of 10?
Yeah.
It's been good.
How much
I mean,
do you
I've
really?
spent-
How much are you learning?
Not a whole ton.
Do you think it's worth
like, right
$85,000
now,
a year?
No. No level of education is worth $85,000 a year, aside from like enough to be like a reasonable thinking person. But I'm already kind of at a place where I'm a reasonable thinking person.
You
So
think
then,
pretty
like,
highly of yourself.
This is all. Well, no, I just mean like I can function in society. Like if I stopped being educated, like if I stopped having a formal education right now, I would be smarts wise. I would be like pretty comfortable in the world. I don't like what I'm learning right now is just like philosophy and shit. And like really advanced math.
Do you like advanced math?
Well, I'm not taking advanced math right now. And last semester,
Why did
pretty
you
much
lie?
all of my math was a retread. Well, because like most students at college take advanced math.
Do you
So
have to
it's just
take
using that
advanced
as-
math ever again, or are you just done?
I'm done with math for the rest of my life.
That's so hype, though.
It's kind of neat. I wish I had
No.
more math instead of science, because I have to take 2 semesters of science. I'm not excited about that.
Here's what I'm looking forward to. I'm gonna go for a BFA, a Bachelor of Fine Arts. Therefore, I have to take no academics.
Yeah. Yes.
And that is
That's
gonna be great.
Yeah, that's what I just applied to transfer into, I believe. So I'm hoping that pans out.
Yeah, congrats on your application. I know that was a lot of work, but you did a good job.
It was a lot of work.
And I'm proud of you.
I'm vibing with it. I'm chilling with it.
And you know, if you don't get in, there's always the next application.
Yeah, I get to do it again. That's pretty much what the thinking behind this was like, well, you might as well just fucking do it, because, like, either way, you know, you either get in and you get out of having to do it next year, or you don't and you're just going to do it next year anyway. So it's like, fuck it, you know?
Exactly, dude.
Let
me ask you another question.
Well, Titus asks, how's the film program?
That's what I was just
I'm in
gonna
the
ask.
cinema studies program, so it's a little different. I'm not in the actual film and TV program. I've heard nothing but amazing things. One of the guys that I went to the dog cafe with today, who disappeared as soon as we got to the dog cafe, and I didn't see him the rest of the time. But I was walking there with him, and he's a film and TV student. And we talked a lot about movies and stuff, but he was like, I literally love the film and TV program so much, and I would never want to be anywhere else. Like, I'm so happy with it.
Wow.
Like, wow.
You think he's sort of a shill for NYU?
Well, I can't imagine he is, because he's the one paying them money, you know? And he's, like, a college student, so a lot of college students are, like, bitchy about their lives.
Yeah, but do you think maybe,
I've never heard
like,
anybody
I
talk
want to go
about
to UCLA so bad. And if I ever found out that UCLA was a giant fucking disappointment, I would keep that shit to myself. Yeah, I'd be like, oh, I'm so blessed to be here. And I wouldn't tell anyone. So do you think maybe he's sort of going through that?
I mean, potentially. I'm not going to speculate on that. I'm going to take what he says at the face.
Titus is purely
has asked
studies
the key
right
question.
now. It's purely studies.
It is purely studies right now, which is in my entire program. It will never change.
That's
which
not
is why
true.
I've applied to.
Yeah, you have to apply
a different program.
Yeah.
If I stayed in my program, it would never change.
But no one
never
stays in the
make
program.
projects.
You start out in that
Many
program, and then you build up, and then you apply. That's just how it works, Titus.
Many people change. Many people stay in the program.
But also people fucking leave the program.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that leave the program, but many people also stay. You said no one stays. Everybody leaves.
Unless you're 50.
So that's not true.
Like Franklin. Is Franklin still in your class?
He is. He doesn't. He sometimes he talks, and you go what, and then he kind of answer his question and move on. But it's not.
You have to be nice to him.
Oh, he's a super nice guy. He's a great guy, and he's not dumb. It's just the way that his brain seems to work is just like it doesn't communicate information in a way that other people seem to understand. He'll just like say an observation, and it'll have like skipped 3 steps, and you're like, what? And then you have to like kind of ascertain it because you want to be like polite. I mean, I don't have to do it, but I watch my professors do it, and it's like chill.
I love.
But he's like he's not dumb. He's like a super smart guy. He's very like, and he's super nice, and he and I are tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me. I mean, I haven't really talked to him very much this semester, but he told me at the end of last semester, he's like, "Hey, thank you for."
Well, I know this already.
Yeah.
I thought your relationship had developed further.
No, we're just chill, you know. No, I don't really talk to anybody in my cinema studies class. But in terms of how good my cinema studies class is, I've enjoyed them. I took one last semester and one this semester, and they're pretty chill. Last semester, my professor was very focused on like diversity in her films, and so it was intro to cinema studies, but it was basically gender studies in cinema. I mean, it was
It's enough to make me want to
every
kill
single
myself.
movie was about a minority group and about, I mean, more or less.
You weren't really
I think,
studying
2
genre
movies that
films.
weren't.
That seemed to be the
What?
big problem. You weren't really studying
Well,
genre films.
on genre day, there was no study of genre, which bothered me. It was basically just like how, like the femme fatale in, we watched neo-noir about, like an all-black neo-noir. And they were, then on genre day when we were supposed to like talk about that movie, and it was supposed to be like we watched a neo-noir movie and talk about genre and then like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, how is the femme fatale trope subverted to be more inclusive of women in, which is like a fine discussion to have, but not in like intro to cinema studies genre day. Like that's not what that class should be about.
Right. You should talk about the fucking conventions.
Conventions of different genres.
And the iconography of genres.
Yeah. And history and whatever. And that wasn't really something that got touched upon. And that was kind of the thing in every situation. It was like, the documentary was a documentary about Native American women fighting back against, and then it's like, how is this issue represented by documentary, and it's all, it was always that stuff. So, like, that was, like, kind of irritating, but it was still, like, a lot of the movies were interesting. We did get to watch, like, Citizen Kane and a documentary about, the guy who walked between the Twin Towers.
Oh, yes.
Which was a good documentary. And, like, that all-black neo-noir movie was a great movie. It just... We talked about, like, the least interesting aspect of it. But...
If you were to relate yourself... Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you were to relate yourself to what film student, filmmaker, who would you say you're most similar to?
What do you mean? Film student, filmmaker?
Like all the filmmakers who have gone to film school, So not Quentin Tarantino.
In terms of their approach to film school?
Exactly.
Or
in terms of their approach to filmmaking. Or how they view the cinema. Because you're a very genre guy,
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm the most similar to James Gunn. I've always kind of felt like I was very
What
James
school
Gunn.
did he go to?
Max Landis. I'm not sure.
Are you sure he went to a school? Because he might not fit in the category in which I'm asking.
Yeah. Well, I know for sure that Max Landis did. So that's
what
really
about Spielberg?
my answer. I guess. I don't really relate to Steven Spielberg. I like Spielberg, but I think he and I
love Spielberg.
There's just such a divorce between the era that he made his movies in and the era that I'm going to try to make movies in. You know
That's
what I mean?
true.
Where it's hard to relate to the way that he approached filmmaking because the circumstances are entirely different.
Yeah, you cannot have a foreign man eat a snake anymore.
Yeah, which is like fucking irritating. Like you gotta be letting me do that.
I know. Every movie should have a foreign man. We got a question, and I think I can answer this one. He's not made any films yet.
No.
He's not made any films yet, but he's done a couple video essays.
Me?
Yeah.
I guess I made like a kind of video essay for my.
He did, and it was really
my
cool.
English class.
And I never
My
saw
Teen
it.
Beach 2 one? Yeah. It was fine. I wish I could have done better on it, but I didn't really work on it for that long. It was chill.
You certainly know how to talk yourself up.
I mean, I'm fine. That wasn't something I worked really hard on that I was like really proud of. It was just like an assignment for a class.
I'm doing an Indiana Jones video essay. It's very exciting.
For what class?
For my English class.
Very lit.
I like how you said that, man. Very lit.
Thank you. Very lit. Yeah, NYU's chill. But I've written a couple of things that Solvin's gonna try and make, or we might try and make, or whatever. And
That's
then
right.
I'm kind of semi-consistently writing stuff, so it'll be nice. Is being at NYU giving me? It's giving me lots of time to write things. A lot of my free time, I get to write things. It doesn't really give me a lot of ideas because none of my ideas have been based on my experiences at NYU or anything. But you know, it's kind of chill. I guess I started writing a comedy script. That I don't know if I'll even continue it or finish it or anything, but it's like a road trip movie without a car, where it's two guys walk from Greenwich Village to like the north side of Central Park in a day, and you know they like stop in stores and shit and meet characters along the way, and like it's potentially funny. But so I guess like that's a New York inspired idea. Yeah, being able to write is like being given time to write is very nice, and it's helped. I'm so much better than I used to be, and I'm terrible, but I'm so much better than I used to be. I mean, even I was writing. What was I writing recently? Thank you, Titus. You're very nice. I was it might have been a Superman script, and I was comparing it to the stuff from that slasher script that I wrote, and I was just like, oh my god, the way the scenes end isn't like the most obnoxious.
Oh yeah, are we gonna make that?
Thank you, man. See you, man. Thanks. Bye. I would very much like to.
I would love to make that.
Doing notes.
That'd be so cool.
It would be super cool. It would be super fun. I was watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I was like, man, I really like wrote like a slasher movie that kind of like works. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, not in a great place, but it like.
All right, well, I guess I'll just go, man. Yeah, all right, man. I'll see you soon. Okay, dude. I'll see you then. All right, man.
Bye. Thank you. All right. See ya. Thanks. Bye.
God.
See ya. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like obnoxious, but like it's not broken to its core.
No, it is good.
Like there's stuff in it that is actually like good ideas, you know.
And of course, the screenplay you wrote for me, I think has a lot of potential.
Yeah, you seemed happy with it. I don't know.
Visually, I think it'll be really fun.
Yeah, it's a good, you know, like college admissions.
Yeah.
It
Feels deep. You know.
You have interest in directing or shooting your own films, or are you more interested in writing and making the ideas and plots? I like directing actors a lot. The dream is for me to write stuff, workshop it with Sullivan, and then I direct it in terms of I have some ideas about how I want things to look, like production design and costume design and things, you know, and I direct the actors and work through my script, and then Sullivan would shoot and edit the stuff. That's kind of the model we're working on right now.
Yeah, when we're both 30, we're gonna be like the Coen brothers.
For sure.
We will.
Absolutely.
Do you doubt that, Finn?
No, not even a little bit.
Actually? Because I'm not fucking around.
I know you're not.
And Titus,
That's dope. Thank you, Titus.
You'll be there too. Because
yeah,
as
Titus will be there too.
Titus and I have discussed, it only takes one of us to make it for the rest of us to be dragged along.
Yeah. That's what's pretty goated about it. Is like I'm very much, I mean, you know, in my own fantasies, I'm the person that gets successful first. You know what I mean? But
yeah, but anyone could.
I like the idea of bringing along like my friends that are actors and putting them in all my movies, like what James Gunn does. You know, where it's like, I like you, Michael Rooker. Come be in all of my movies for the rest of time. And like that's exciting to me. So like being able to work with like Aaron and Justin and Dean and
well, and your brother, you know.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about actors. But
I've done some acting.
Being able to work with you. Yeah, but I wouldn't. You wouldn't want to be an actor in the movies anyway.
Well, if I felt like I was right for the role.
What role would you even be right for? You're so far removed from acting in my brain that you're like, you basically don't even have a type.
Bruh, I was in an Amazon ad.
if you were like an actual actor, you would be like a leading man, like easily. You're like a tall baritone. But like,
You don't think I'm a serious actor then?
no, I have a hard time seeing you playing like the prince in a Disney movie or something. You know
Really?
what I mean? Like that should be your type, but you're just so
Obese.
disingenuous.
Yeah.
No, you're just such like an asshole, like a dry asshole.
Got you,
But
buddy.
you also couldn't be like Gaston. Maybe you could be Gaston.
No, I couldn't. I could not be anyone. I'm so bad at acting.
I kind of agree. I'm sorry. In The Pair. What is The Pair?
The Pair for Me. It's a short film that
Oh,
Titus
The
made.
Pair for Me?
It's about a pair of shoes.
Oh. I watched a silent film called Shoes. Have you ever seen it?
Mm-mm.
It's about a very poor woman.
Ha, a loser.
Her shoes are like completely fucked. Like totally fucked. Like insanely unreal how like just
Is it a real story
absolutely
or?
fucked they are. No, it's a like a film. It's a narrative.
Are they fucked to the point where like you're just better off not wearing a shoe?
Almost, yeah.
Well, then that's fucking
It's like
dumb.
they're fucked to the point where you're like basically not wearing a shoe. And her shoes are like super fucked. And then she's like,
Are they fucked though?
but she's very poor, and there's a pair of shoes in the window of a store that she really wants. And her parents, and she works a job, and she gives money to her mother to help pay for their family. But her dad doesn't have a job. And she's like, you gotta have a fucking job, you asshole. And he like won't get a job. And he's lazy. And he just sits around all day while she's working. And then she can't use any of her own money that she earns from her job to buy her fucking shoes. And it's just an hour of miserable sadness as she just walks to work every day in the fucking rain, and she has no shoes, and she's just like absolutely just like so sad.
Wow.
And then this guy is like, hey, come down to the club when I'm at and hang out with me. And then she prostitutes herself to this man for shoes, and
So
she
lit.
cries. And her dad comes home and gets mad at her. And then the movie ends.
That's so lit.
Her she like whores herself out for the shoes. She comes home. She's like, Mom, I did this. I can't believe I did this. I'm so sad, but it was like my only choice because our family had no money for shoes. And then her dad comes home and is like, I got a job. I'm so excited to have a job.
Holy
to
fuck!
Have some extra money.
That's so fucked.
It was pretty epic.
No.
Yeah, that's pretty close to what I had planned for my short film as well. Sounds like you ripped off the silent film Shoes.
No, he's joking.
Oh. I would like to see a movie where Sullivan plays the dad in that, and it's all from his perspective. And he's like, my bitch fucking daughter keeps bothering me
I would pull a rice gum.
about my shoes. Ugh. What's a rice gum?
Like she gets home.
She'll film you having sex with her? Tell her that she enjoyed it, so it wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Classic.
How long was it? Like 5 minutes? Oh, so it wasn't that bad.
Oh, you're talking about that.
That's so fucked. What a good
Rice
video
gum is
that
very
is.
fucked. The
By
iDubbbz video.
iDubbbz?
Yeah.
I like iDubbbz.
Content cop Jake Paul. Yeah, I like iDubbbz. I don't agree with his views on the N-word, but
I don't either.
like his reasoning is like I understand why, and I definitely think like the Tana Mongo reaction
that's
to
so
it is
funny.
like
Tana Mongoose.
Tana Mongoose.
Today we're gonna go see Tana Mongoose.
So good.
Say, it is funny though. The
My
thumbs
phone.
up.
Can
And just
you
like
hear me?
how she like bullshits the story. What?
What? My phone disconnected as soon as you went say, and then my
Oh
headphones got
no.
unplugged from my phone.
I said it.
Oh really?
No.
On camera, on stream, to ruin your life forever.
It's not funny. It could have been the end.
Oh yeah, we gotta watch Turning Red next week because that's
You mean the
that's the
period
big
film?
movie next weekend. Yeah,
I think I'm gonna pass on that one, Finn.
we gotta watch it to talk about it on our stream next week, our in-person stream.
Next week you're in person?
Yes, next Saturday we will be in Palm Springs.
Fuck me.
Yeah,
So we're gonna stream in Palm Springs?
yeah, we gotta be. We do it every Saturday, right, Sullivan?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll stream. We'll watch Turning Red, and then we'll stream it. We'll stream our review.
No, we're gonna stream the film.
We're gonna stream the film with no commentary. So Sullivan, how have you been? What have you been up to? I just realized I haven't asked you guys anything yet, or haven't asked you anything.
I'm doing alright. Just kind of hanging out, vibing, doing shit. Not really as much as I would like of the things that I want to do, but that's just how life be sometimes. I hope you're doing alright, Titus. I'm sorry your film never worked out. If you ever want help, I will always try to be there. I know I couldn't make it last time, but I will always try. And don't give up on that idea, because that is a good idea for sure.
After this game, I'm gonna hop off. I think.
Yeah, me too. I have to
We'll
go
just
get Panda Express.
Pad the conversation. That's exciting.
I'm excited. Really.
I'm getting dinner with a group of people because
Look at you, dude.
Ron is trying to get with this girl, and
Exciting.
she invited him to a group dinner, and he was like, "Can Finn come?" And she was like, "Sure." So Ron's pretty chill. He keeps doing that. He's
Ron,
like, "Can Finn come?"
You need a friend like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
pretty
that
healthy.
about Ron. Ron
Ron's
seems
pretty
like
chill.
a good guy.
Panda Express is so goated. It's
It
the
is
best fast
so
food
good.
restaurant. It's the best fast food restaurant, hands down. Not even a question.
That's probably true. But I don't know if it can be considered drive-through because not every single one of them has a drive-through.
Well, fast food to me doesn't necessarily mean drive-through.
I fucked up my sentence. I meant to say I can't totally consider it fast food because
Yeah.
not all of them have a drive-through. I said I can't consider it drive-through because not all of them
You
have
definitely
a
can't
drive-through.
consider it uniformly drive-through. Living off it for a week really made me appreciate it more than I ever had before. That's like most of the weeks that I was in shows. I would.
Well, that's
once
you
I
in
could
New York.
drive- No, now it's Pad Thai from down the street. The nearest Panda Express is up by Madison Square Garden.
I think. Wait, living
Like a half
off
hour
of it.
away. Living off it, like, I assume he means. I assume he means going a week entirely eating Panda Express, as opposed to the first week
I
I
was
ever
thinking
had
the other way.
with
That's
no
why I
Panda
said New
Express.
York would be tough because you don't have easy access.
It
to
has been difficult. It has been. Teddy sent me a picture today of him
Is that Chino?
at Chino Bandito.
I know.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, I miss it. I'm not gonna have enough time to eat. I'm very excited to be able to eat Sancho's and Great Shakes and some of the good places in Cali. But I don't know how I'm gonna fit in all the stuff I want to do in Phoenix because I gotta see Godspell. Jordan has tickets to the national tour of Tootsie, so I'm gonna see that. I gotta hang out with everybody. I gotta go to Chino. I gotta
It's gonna be
I gotta
exciting.
eat at Panda Express. There's just so much to do. So yeah. Well, you did it. It's the end of the game. Have a good night, everybody. Titus.
Ooh, actually, Titus, you're gonna be our test subject. We actually have 3 concurrent viewers. I don't know how that's possible. One of them's Titus, one of them is you. But who's that other guy? Who's the other one not talking? Maybe it's a woman. I shouldn't have said guy. So we're gonna test something out, Titus. I'm gonna say goodbye really quick, and then I'm going to hit a button on my OBS stream. And then you're gonna say whether you can hear us when it shows a different screen. Are you ready, Titus? Okay. I'm going to click a button now. Well, we're back.
All right.
And I'm just going to stop it the normal way. Goodbye, guys. And thanks for watching our weekly Saturday night streams. Say goodbye, Finn.
Goodbye.